Hello everyone. So we are starting off with a new topic and that is respiration, and this is the first part of it. And in this lecture we'll be mainly dealing about the basics of respiration. We'll understand that what is respiration, what are its type and other subsequent topics. So first of all, let us understand that what is respiration. So as we all know that we have already completed the photosynthesis, and in the process of photosynthesis it was the glucose that was formed. So in respiration we'll be using this glucose in order to obtain the energy. In this process there occurs oxidation of glucose, and the oxidized glucose gets converted into its subsequent components with the elimination of energy, which helps the organism to complete the metabolic processes. So let us understand the definition of respiration first. So in respiration we have glucose and oxygen, and there occurs release of energy, also carbon dioxide and water. So we can say that the process involves using of the sugars, that is glucose, which is produced during the photosynthesis process, plus the oxygen is being used to produce energy, and that energy is used for the plant growth and development. So let us look into some more points about the respiration. So the first point is that it is a metabolic process, and also there is release of free energy, and this free energy is used for the growth and the development of the organisms, and this free energy is released from the oxidation of the organic compounds, and the free energy is released in the form of ATP, and ATP is the energy currency of the cell. So now the components that are oxidized, for example the glucose and other compounds. So the components that are oxidized, they are known as the respiratory substrates. The examples are the fats, then we have carbohydrates, proteins, etc. The most common type of the respiratory substrates are the carbohydrates. So let's talk about the types now. So depending upon the end products of the oxidation, it could either be complete oxidation or the incomplete oxidation. In case of complete oxidation, the respiratory substrate that we are using gets completely broken down into the carbon dioxide and the water. But in case of incomplete oxidation, the respiratory substrates are not completely oxidized and few residues are left behind. So now let us look at the types of the respiration. And these types are mainly based upon the oxygen dependence or the independence. So depending on whether the oxygen is being used or not used, respiration is mainly of two types, and that is aerobic, and the second one is the anaerobic. So let us look into detail that what is aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So talking about the aerobic respiration first, it is oxygen dependent, that is it occurs in the presence of oxygen and there occurs complete oxidation, and because of the complete oxidation the end products are the carbon dioxide and the water. And in this type of respiration, the oxygen is the terminal electron acceptor. And in case of aerobic respiration, approximately 30 to 32 ATPs are being produced. So now let us talk about the anaerobic respiration. So the anaerobic respiration is oxygen independent, that is it occurs in the absence of oxygen, and in this process there occurs incomplete oxidation, because of which in the end products the residues of the substrates are left behind. And the examples of the substrates in case of anaerobic respiration are sulfates, nitrates, etc. And these substrates act as the terminal electron acceptor. And in this case, approximately two ATPs are being produced. So let us have a quick overview regarding the aerobic respiration, about which we'll be dealing in detail in the next subsequent parts. So the aerobic respiration starts with glycolysis, in which the glucose is converted into the pyruvic acid, and we have two ATPs formed. And this pyruvic acid, after going through subsequent stages, enters into the Krebs cycle, which is also known as TCA cycle, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle. And finally, after the Krebs cycle, we have the electron transport system. We'll be dealing about all these cycles and the pathways in the subsequent videos. One point to remember is that when we compare the aerobic and the anaerobic respiration, we need to remember that glycolysis occurs in both the cases, and after the formation of the pyruvic acid, there occurs changes in the pathways, and the changes are that in case of the cellular respiration or the aerobic respiration, we have many steps like the Krebs cycle and the ETC, etc. But in case of the anaerobic respiration, the example is fermentation, and in this process, that after the formation of the pyruvic acid enters into the anaerobic pathways, which leads to the formation of the lactic acid, ethanol, or other products. In case of anaerobic respiration, we can see that there is partial or incomplete oxidation. But in case of cellular respiration, we have complete oxidation. And finally, the formation of carbon dioxide and water as the end products. So the next point to remember is that in the daytime we have both the respiration and photosynthesis occurring simultaneously, but at the night time there is only respiration occurring and not the photosynthesis, and that is because in the night time we do not have the solar energy, which is one of the main requirement for the photosynthesis to occur. So with this, we are done with the basics of respiration. We have understood that what it is, when it occurs, and why it occurs. In the next video, we'll be dealing with the first step of respiration, and that is glycolysis in detail. So if you like this video, please do like, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. It would be very helpful. So thank you so much for watching, and till then keep learning.